All right, sorry. I'm back. Hopefully, you guys make it over from the other stream. Um, it's the way it goes sometimes. Computers suck. YouTube sucks. Everything sucks. My software sucks. My hardware sucks. So I'm just going to jump right back into the drawing. Hopefully, others pop in at some point, but if not, then I'm just drawing a picture. Sorry, guys. All right, so I'm just going to jump right back in. So as I was talking about in the, yeah, I don't know, like, did you guys have to find the new video? Probably. Yeah, anyway, sorry, guys. Um, Hopefully it won't screw up again, but we'll see. I was watching somebody else's live stream earlier, and they were having technical issues too. So I don't know if it's the problem's on my end, if it's on YouTube's end. Anyway, I'm just going to jump right back in. If anybody shows up, great. If not, sorry. But anyway, so what we're working on is like an old man pencil drawing. It looks like crap right now, but hopefully it'll get better. And kind of like the hey Ben, how's it going? Hopefully it'll get back into the swing of things. I don't know. So yeah, just applying some shadow. It's the opposite of this one. I put this one in here just because, like in that one, I drew in light, and this one I'm drawing in dark. So I wanted to kind of have that contrast there. But I think that's messing up my camera, confusing the hell out of it. So we'll see if this holds up again. So this is going to be a hat, and then underneath his hat is like a shadowed face. So that's what we're going for here. And I'm just kind of blocking things in at this point. The dogs think the stream's over because I had to like end it. So hopefully they'll calm down and stop being annoying. It's Friday. Doesn't help that I've already been drinking a lot. So like, well, that helps on my end. My end, I'm solid. Like none of this bothers me because I've been drinking. Hey Tyler, how's it going? I feel bad for the other guys that were in here that can't probably don't know that I had to kill that stream and start over. Oh well. It's the way it goes, guys. Technology sucks. My tech stack here sucks. But my art is awesome, right? That's all that matters. So working on some of these shadow areas again underneath here. This is the guy's hat. So the closer you get up to the rim, it's going to be a little bit darker. We'll just continue working it until it starts to take shape. Yeah. Got a bit of a ridge here over his eye socket. You won't see a lot of detail in here because hopefully this ends up being lost in shadow, which I think is cool. But you do, again, like I was saying earlier, man, I had so many good words in my first video. Like that whole introduction, that was spot on. I was talking about how you imply and suggest in your art. That was some solid stuff, guys. Now it's all wasted. Killed by the AI overlords or something. I don't know. So just rough sketching at this point. Kind of getting an idea where everything is. You guys have seen some of my messy pictures in the past where I kind of used a similar process. This is kind of like that to a degree. I'm basically just kind of carving out shapes in this. So I know here there's going to be another eye. So you got the eye over here that kind of lined up. And then kind of go ahead and darken it in a little bit. Not worried about detail at this point, just kind of figuring out where everything is. And then I know that the brow kind of comes really close to that because, well, he's an older dude. That's just kind of how their faces work. And then I know that the corner of this eye kind of comes out just a little bit past the nose. So I think I'm good there. Get kind of a ridge going there. All of this is going to be shaded in, but there's going to be some more detail in there. Yeah, sorry. Oh well, screw it. I mean, you gotta have fun on YouTube anyway, especially if you have numbers like mine. Like so I'll tell you guys a funny story. Um, like with the YouTube Partner Program, that's where like you get to share in the ad revenue and everything. You have to have a certain amount of subscribers and you have to have a certain amount of watch hours. And the funny thing about it is you have to have all of that within like a certain time period. So they have this watch hour requirement of like 4,000 watch hours. So like that's a lot of viewing, right? It's not like 4,000 hours of video, but cumulatively everybody watching needs to needs to add up to like 4,000 to even be considered for their partner program. Then there's like an application process and all that stuff. So anyway, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, sure. Like that sounds awesome, just free money. Um, but it's 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days. So I started my stream or my channel like just about 365 days ago. So where I was getting actually pretty happy with my numbers, I was happy that watch hours had increased, more subscribers, more people interested, and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I might actually get to that number soon, because it's in the last 365 days. All of my streams from last year are actually being subtracted from my current ones in terms of watch hours. So if you want to help this channel out, watch my videos is what I'm saying. I need the watch hours because they're slowly subtracting them. So if you can't even get in the partner program, it's got to be about just having fun. So like if the stream craps out and stuff, I mean that's just the way it is. I'm here for the art nowadays. Like in the beginning, I'm like, oh, okay, YouTube partner program. That sounds interesting. Now it's like, screw it. I'll just draw pretty pictures. If people watch, they watch. But that's the attitude you kind of have to have on the internet. You don't know. You really have no idea what people. It's so hard to capture people's attention. Like even if you've got good art, it really is that algorithm thing. They promote some things and they don't promote others. It's crazy. But anyway, enough about that. You can start to see a bit of a face coming out. It's not a masterpiece or anything yet, but you can start to see a bit of the face coming out. So that's all that matters. Yeah, so Tyler, speaking of llamas, so Tyler's out there in Wyoming, Montana, sorry, Montana, learning to be a cowboy, which I think is just awesome. He sent me a picture earlier today of a llama out there, just out there in the field. It's pretty cool. I think that's one of the next wildlife pieces that I need to do. I need to do a llama, and because they're cool animals. They're so cute. Llamas are. So I want kind of the curve of the nostril. For some reason, older gentlemen get really large nostrils for some reason. Get some shadow going in here on the bottom of the nose. Yeah, it doesn't look like Creative Boredom made it back. There's some other guys in here. Oh well. It is what it is. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with YouTube right now. But you know what? There's some things that are in their control, and then there's some things that are in my control, and I can create a pretty picture. That's what's in my control. I do always fall back on art. Um, it's kind of like something I always thought that like, no matter what happens in life, you can always draw pictures. It's kind of a safety blanket from that standpoint, at least for me. I'm always like, at least I can draw a picture. Honestly, if you want to make friends, if you want to like interact with people and you want to break the ice, become an artist, draw pictures because you can do it anywhere. Literally, this is pencil and paper. You can do this anywhere. You can do this at school. You can do it when you're older. You can do it at a bar. You can do it at the beach. You can do it in a coffee shop. wherever. You just pull out a pencil and paper and you start drawing pictures, and you've got instant friends because people want to watch that happen. That's my guiding philosophy on this channel. If you draw it, they'll watch because it's cool, you know. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's a great conversation starter. Just be drawing pictures, chatting with people. There's worse ways to spend your life. There really are. All right, so I kind of want the hat to kind of my bourbon keeps getting in the way. So I kind of want it to kind of come out this way a little bit. So kind of a downward angle here. I do kind of want like some curves in it. It's an old floppy kind of fedora. And then I kind of want it to come back this way. And then right back here, maybe like, I don't know, a quarter of an inch from the edge of the page, just kind of come back up a little bit. So that's the shape of it in my mind. Yeah. And again, none of this has to be high detail at this moment. Great question, Silver Sage. I had to restart my stream because it was crapping out. I did mention in my other segment, I guess. These are Derwent pencils. They're from a company called Derwent. And I've had these forever. Like I'm cheap. I don't buy expensive art supplies and stuff, but somebody gave these to me as a gift, I think 10, 20 years ago, something like that. And I've had them ever since. And you can see how few times I actually use pencil because they're still like there, you know, there's still like a lot of pencil left in it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to draw in graphite pencils tonight, just because it's been a minute. I have done charcoal pictures, I have done pastels, I have done, you know, paints and stuff. The nostalgia of working with pencils right now, it's just really, really awesome to me to just, you know, really, really just nice and classic pencil and paper. Because that's all you need to create art. You don't need a bunch of fancy supplies. You don't need, I mean, charcoal is about as basic as it gets, but you don't even need charcoal to just pick up pencil and paper. And so these are drawing pencils, and they come in like different hardnesses. So it goes from light to dark, just based on the softness of the pencil. So this one here is kind of like a 2B. It's not too dark. That's why you see it, it's coming out really light. I started with something much lighter, but I was having trouble getting my camera to focus because it was so light. I could see it, but it didn't show up well on camera. So I switched to this 2B, or yeah, 2B, which is probably comparable to the number 2 pencils that you like use in school or something like that. So there's nothing really special about this pencil I'm using now. But this, I would have a hard time getting those really dark shadows in later on in the process. So I will switch to a softer pencil at that point. But for right now, just kind of getting the idea of the guy in there is perfect pencil for that. And I'm not pressing down that hard either. So like I want it to be kind of light until I figure out where everything is. So like just this, like it's hard to see, but this little detail of the ridge of his eyebrow and stuff, you know, I kind of want to pencil all that in before I really start pressing those tones in. If that makes sense. You got some other facial features here. You got some crinkles in his nose, real Santa Claus kind of features, you know, the corner of his eyes. I want all those kind of basic details to be in there before I really start pressing the shadows in. And again, the concept is it's the inverse of what I did here. So if you watch that video, you start off really light and then you start coming back with like, you know, a little bit harder and stuff to get those lights in there. You know, gotta get some crow's feet in here before you really start worrying about the shadows to any great degree. Like this is going to be a much darker when I'm done with it. Or I don't know. I can't predict the future. We'll see. But my impression is that I'll put in like a lot more shadow up in here. Hey Packer, how's it going, man? A reverence for graphite. Yep. That's how I'm feeling tonight. Nostalgic. The simple days when you had pencil and paper and you weren't trying to create masterpieces in paint or painting a copy or something. I definitely did not want to paint in coffee tonight. I feel like I put you guys through enough of that. I'll come back to it at some point, but I figured I'd give you guys a break because like I have been doing a lot of those lately. Also, you can see that I'm not really being really precise at all with the marks I'm making. I'm just kind of scribbling and shading in. I'm not even really hatching. In a sense, I'm hatching, but it's all like one directional and stuff. There's a couple of different ways that you can kind of like work those shadows. You can do cross hatching. You can really work on the density. So like up here where it's darker, you can kind of like make lines that are closer together and then kind of like thin it out as you go. I'll probably do a little bit of that, but right now it's just basically, I don't know, smudging with the stick, we'll call it. So I do kind of want to have this kind of a little bit round over here at the end. And then there's a little bit of a, like an edge to this cap, but not too thick. And I want to make sure that I'm careful to like follow the existing line so that it doesn't look too thick. Because it's just the brim. You don't really see a lot of um depth to this part here. Like there, like here on my cap, it kind of slopes down. It's not sloping here in the reference picture that I'm looking at. If that makes sense. Man, this sucks because I actually I'm enjoying this picture. It sucks that my first stream kind of crapped out. I just hate when that happens because that's stuff that's not your fault. Like if I draw like if I spill my bourbon on this paper, that's my fault. I take full responsibility for that. If the technology doesn't work, sucks. So down through here, again, guys, when we grow our beards, like if they're like you can shape them or whatever, like you can do like a goatee or something, but otherwise it's kind of lined up just below the nose. So like this is where it starts dipping down into like beard. This is an older dude. He hasn't cared in years which direction his beard's going. Uh, so at this point, it's definitely all like beard. And then again, like with this picture over here, I don't really want to draw every single hair of that beard. I just want to kind of imply the shape of a beard and let the shadows do the work. That's what it's all about in this particular picture. I kind of want a little bit of a dip here in the mustache. This particular drawing is all about what can I do with shadows to kind of suggest and communicate the features without like I don't know, without hitting your head over it with it. That's why I wanted the shadow of the hat, if that makes sense. Yeah, spill my bourbon. I will not spill my bourbon. That's a sin. That's, I will not waste bourbon. Every morning I wake up, I tell myself in the mirror, I will not waste my bourbon. I will put my bourbon to good use. That's it. I've spilled drinks in the past. It's always like, oh man, wasted opportunity. Especially when you go to like some fancy bar or something, it costs you like $30 for a freaking cocktail. Then you really don't want you want every single drop. Yeah, so that's looking kind of cool. Again, I'm keeping it purposefully kind of light right now, just until I kind of figure out where everything is. So this guy's got like hat band, I guess it's called. I don't know, like hat ribbon. I don't know. I don't wear like a ton of fedoras. I've tried them. They don't look right on me. Like a nice wide brimmed fedora that looks cool on me. But you know, the style these days is like a narrow or short brimmed fedora. That's not something that looks good on my giant enormous head. I've got a very large head. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but my head is like way too big for my body. And those little small fedoras that people wear, they just don't look right on me. I know that you're supposed to wear those to kind of class it up or whatever. Nah, it doesn't work for me. Just like a hat that makes my head look smaller, if that makes sense. I need one of those 10-gallon like cowboy hats. And then I feel like my melon would look proper sized. So what are you drawing? What does it look like I'm drawing? Jeremy's mom drinks bourbon. She likes rum. Rum and I guess tequila and like margaritas and stuff. They when my dad was in the military, they lived in Cuba and they went to Jamaica while living in Cuba, and I think that's the reason why they like those kind of like Caribbean kind of cocktails. But yeah, they're big on rum and things of that nature. Both her and my mom, or both her and my mom, both her and my dad. Yeah, maybe I should drink a little less. Get a little bit of shadow going here. So yeah, Tyler, like, what do you think I'm drawing? What does it look like? Because I don't want to lead your opinion on it. I want so right above the bridge of the nose, right here. This is where kind of a like a pinch point. I don't know what these things are called. The pinch of the hat or something like that. You would have a little bit of shadow in there. And then this right here would come all the way across here. I'm going to clean all this up here in a minute, but just kind of wanted to get these pieces in. And then here, right above the ear, so right through here. Notice how I'm using existing pieces, right? So like you can barely see this ear I've kind of drawn in, but I kind of got a bit of an ear going here. And I'm using that as like a reference point. So I use the nose to reference the ear, and then now I'm using the ear to reference the shadow that kind of comes up the hat and gives it a little bit of shape. So again, it's all in the shadows are creating the form of the things you see here. The hat shape and so on. And then you really only get a face because of that shadow from the hat. That's what I like about this particular picture that I'm working on. This exercise, working on tonal value to create shapes, essentially. And not, like it's not like any of this is like new to some of you guys. Like this is basic drawing stuff, but like it is nice to revisit and explore every now and then while you're working on other things. So like I'm working on that series of coffee paintings and stuff like that. It's nice to take a break from that. Just enjoy a good old pencil drawing. Kind of a rough sketched out pencil drawing. Yeah, Panama Jack. I like that. Are you drawing that pic above your pencil case? So I drew that before. Yeah, sorry, Tyler, maybe you didn't see that one. This is the drawing that I did before. And the only reason it's here is to kind of show the contrast. So like this one is drawing in light, this one's drawing in shadows. That's why it's there. Hopefully that answers your question. Hey, Tom made it back in. Cool. Let me adjust my thing here. Cool. I think Tom was on the other stream that kind of got lost. Again, I apologize for that, but I should probably shut up about it because it's kind of outside my control. What can I do? All right. So I've got enough of him in there to where I feel like I know where everything is. Let me kind of round this ear here and kind of get some shadow here. I think that's about where I want. Again, I'm not drawing a whole ear or anything. I'm just kind of implying it. I like those terms. I heard somebody else use them. I forget what channel or whatever, but once he said it, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. So like I like the terms imply and suggest. So like you don't need to draw every single feature. You just kind of imply features. So like I'm implying a beard right here. I'm implying his face. I'm implying his ear. I'm implying some ear hair because I want to say this guy looks to be maybe 70. So he's going to have some ear hair. I'm not actually drawing ear hair. I'm just kind of darken this up a little bit. And then kind of got some shadow back here that's kind of his hair, but also just kind of shadow behind him. Kind of imply all that. And then, let's see, below the ear, kind of bring the shadow down. It's kind of like the edge of his beard. So again, this is going to take more shape here a little bit as I go along. But just imply all this. Here, I was about to switch to another pencil, but then I realized, yeah, I really need to apply some more. So like, let me apply his mouth here. And again, the mouth isn't a mouth, right? So like, I'm not drawing teeth, I'm not drawing his lips or anything. It's really the shadows of his mustache. That's kind of my point here. Everything in this picture is shadows. That's not a nose. That's an object poking out of the shadow. That's not a ridge of his nose. That's just shadow. Everything's shadow. The opposite of this one, where everything is light. That's, it's kind of dumb to have this picture here, but in my mind, it works out. You know, that one's light. This one's shadow. That one's a beautiful young lady. This one's a ugly old man. You know, opposites, contrasts. This is all about contrast. Everything on this desk is about contrast. Let's see. Tyler asks, "Are you drawing me?" Yeah, this is old Tyler. This is what you're gonna look like at 70 years old if you live that long, Tyler. Hey, Steve. Tyler at 75, even if it's not Tyler. Yeah, all right, we'll call this guy Tyler. I'm not very good with names. We finally got the stick guy having a name. His name is Geppetto now. Did a poll so that people could vote on that. So if you ever wonder who I'm referring to, if I say Geppetto, it's my my co-pilot here. All right, so I think this is suggested enough. So now, again, this is a harder pencil, so it's going to draw lighter lines. So I'm going to move on to, let's say, the 6B, and I'm going to start going back over what I did. Let's see, make sure I got it nice and sharpened. And hopefully if the light's not reflective too much. The one downside to graphite is it is pretty reflective. So I'm going to go back over the same shapes that I had with the 6B and kind of work that in just to get, you know, just another degree of shadow going. I'll start up here in the really shadowed areas and then kind of bring it down a little bit, hopefully. And again, I'm just kind of like going scribbly over things. I'm not really, you know, being overly technical with like hatching or anything like that. Trying to keep it nice and soft. Honestly, I think it's me, Ben. Yeah, this is what you're gonna look like, Tyler, after you've been out there in Montana for a bit. You can get like weathered old look to your face. All your brand new hats that you're so proud of, they're gonna become moth-eaten and mosquito-bitten. Get some shadows in here. So like here it's really dark in shadows, but then, and this is all really soft. Like I don't know if you guys see that, but through here, the shadows are kind of like right above his eye, and then they kind of come over. A lot of the details are lost in shadows on this picture. It's more about the shadows themselves. That makes sense. I know a lot of times I don't make sense. There's a couple of reasons why it makes sense. One is I'm usually drunk. Two, I usually don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And three, I'm kind of making it up on the fly, but it does make sense to me at least. So if I don't make sense, I do apologize, but at least in my mind, it makes sense. The things I say. So while I'm drawing, how's your guys' week going? You guys looking forward to the weekend? You guys pretty excited? It's been unusually warm around here. I think it's going to rain this weekend, but at least it's not going to be cold. I might venture into the outdoors. Maybe go for a walk. Even if I need a raincoat, I just need to get out of this house. I got cabin fever from like last week when it was like -9 degrees. Hey, Hater. Hey, MJ. Yeah, it's okay. The stream actually died, like it crapped out on me, so I had to restart it anyway. So like if you showed up late, you haven't really missed anything. Um, Mostly I'm keeping it low key tonight and just working with good old fashioned pencil because I haven't in forever. That's kind of like the theme of tonight is like haven't worked in pencil in a long time. Like I've done some charcoal pictures and stuff, but that's completely different. I haven't done any pencil pictures in forever. And I'm like, I saw my pencil set and I'm just like, man, I'm feeling pretty nostalgic tonight. I'm gonna take those out and I'm gonna do something with those pencils because it's been a minute. And yeah, that's where we're at. Trying to imply a guy's face with shadow. Like, not going crazy detail on this or anything. I don't know if you can hear people behind me. They're really loud. Sorry. I think they forget that I do live stream sometimes. Hey, Crump. Yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna go back to the coffee paintings here, in the next couple of days. I wanted to take a break from that, kind of give you guys a break from it. It's not like I don't have plenty of coffee paintings to do. It's just, I've done quite a few of them, so I wanted to kind of give you guys a break. Just go back to old-fashioned drawing for a minute, and then maybe this weekend I might pick that back up. Maybe I might save it for next week. I don't know. I'm not really sure which of my 2 days that I do live streams, more people show up. I know that I'm just relaxing on Fridays and just trying to chill and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe more people show up on Fridays than Tuesdays. I don't know if I've ever really looked at those stats. I'm not very good at analytics and stuff. No, this hasn't been. Put a Jets logo on the hat. Old man at a Jets game. Honestly, that'd be kind of cool. I like old dudes like this. You can basically put him anywhere. This could be some old dude out, like, you know, panning for gold. He can be an old dude out fishing. He can be an old dude at a Jets game. Old dudes look generically the same. I'm looking forward to it. You don't have to like worry about what you're wearing. You don't have to worry about what you look like. Just throw on an old floppy hat and head out the door. That's the life, man. The only expectation is that you're supposed to say something wise every now and then, just because that's the way they go. Oh, thanks, Ben. Yeah, really. The only noise that I usually get on this show is like my dogs and my cat scratching at the door. And they go over here and drink water, and that's pretty. But the adults in the house, they should know better. Children, children don't know any better. But there ain't no children in this house, so I'm good. Well, a bunch of adult children. So again, implying more of that beard now, trying to give it some shape. With old dudes, it just kind of comes down and just like flops all around. I'm totally gonna have a beard like this one day. Like I'm looking forward to that. I don't do it now, but at some point. And I'm not really going crazy on detail here. I just want to kind of imply because over here it's catching the shadow a little bit more. Yes, I'm drawing your grandpa. This is basically everybody's grandpa. Hey, Heidi. Yeah, old weathered man. What's going on here? This could be your grandfather. This could be a fisherman. This could be a prospector. Whatever you guys want him to be. It's just your friendly old man with his fist in the air yelling at the clouds. You guys ever see that on The Simpsons? It's a meme now. This is Grandpa Simpson in real life. Darn you, clouds. All right, so underneath, like in this area, it kind of curls back in a bit. So just a little bit. I don't want to go crazy on these shadows because the light's catching it. It's all less is more on this picture. So just kind of implying that. And then kind of implying just through here a little bit of like an edge so that you know. So like it's hard to see on camera, but I'm communicating that this is where the beard kind of stops. Let me add some shadow through here. This brim of this hat is really, really wide. And then later on, if I'm concerned about it, I do have like these smudge sticks. I might smudge out some of this stuff, but right now I'm totally not worried about that kind of stuff. That's all like last minute rendering sort of stuff. Hey, Lorraine, Masters of the Air. Oh, cool. Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching that other one that you sent me, the guy who does drawings in Yellowstone. And Lorraine, if you guys ever want some recommendations on videos to watch, Lorraine's got the best ones. There you go. We'll put it that way. Lorraine's our resident expert on what are good YouTube videos to watch. The ones that she's recommended so far, like wildlife drawers, artists, wildlife artists, and they're really good. Way better than me. All right, so just implying a little bit more each time I go over these areas, just implying a little more, trying to get those tonal values right, I think is the term. And, still keeping it kind of rough, that's fine. So I'm going to go with like my darkest one. So this one's like supposed to be like super soft. Should get some darker values out of it because I feel like nothing's going to really move at this point. So I feel comfortable coming in here and working some of these shadows. And it's kind of hard to draw over it. Like some people use like a piece of paper so they don't smudge things. I don't know if I got any paper laying around, but I'm just going to kind of reach across the page and hopefully not spill my bourbon. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's getting there. With pictures like this, it really is going back and forth over the same stuff that you've already drawn several times. And I do like to kind of like vary up the direction it's going. I think that's kind of interesting. Like leave some interesting marks. And then get this brow in here. So I can never get graphite to be like as dark as maybe charcoal or something like that. So in some ways, I prefer charcoal. But if you're just sketching or something, graphite's going to be like a lot less messy. And it's a lot more portable. Like you can take it with you anywhere. Charcoal, you kind of have to carry it around in like a Ziploc bag because it gets dust everywhere. If you work in charcoal for a long time, you probably develop a black lung or something like that. Versus these pencils, these pencils are easy to use. And I'm not sure what it takes to create like an ultra super realistic picture in pencil. I've seen some people do that. It's not really my style, not my thing. I don't have the patience for it. But you can get really good pictures out of them. Pencils are great because like you can do anything from like stick figures to simple sketches to fully rendered pictures that, you know, you're completely happy with. I mean, it's all like what's your patience level and where you want to go with it. The doggo looks super cute on your. Oh, cool. Okay. Get like a darker line through here. I'm gonna put in some more shadow on this nose. Kind of a little bit of a ridge here. Yeah. So hopefully you guys had a good weekend or looking forward to the weekend. Usually on Fridays I ask for like suggestions, like if there were any movies out there that you guys are looking forward to. I noticed there's that what was the movie with what's her name? Emma Watson? No, not Emma Watson. Uh, who's the girl who played Gwen Stacy? I forget her name. I thought it was like Emma something, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But anyway, Poor Little Things. That looks pretty good. Kind of like I don't know, like a Frankenstein vibe off of that. It looks interesting. I might go and see that this weekend. Emma Stone. That's it. I knew it began with an E. I remember people's names like on average 10 minutes after I needed to. Yeah, Emma Stone's new movie. I think I might go and watch that. And then there's another one with the Jeffrey Wright, I think. I think it's called American Fiction. That looks pretty cool too. I might go and see that one. I don't know. Two movies in one weekend. That might be a bit much. I am a moviegoer. I like when there's good stuff in the theaters. There hasn't been for a while, but I do like watching movies. It's a pastime of mine. Oslo is going to be 14 in 2 days. Oh, happy birthday, Oslo. Oh, Willy Wonka. Yeah, I think that's still playing in my local theater too. I haven't had a chance to see that, and I was gonna wait until it came out on streaming. But if you like, I might go see that. Yeah, I think that's been out since around Christmas time. So I've been really slacking. I get a little concerned when they reboot movies like that, but if you think it was good, then I trust your judgment. Usually when they reboot things, they don't keep the charm of the original, and like there's a lot of charm in Willy Wonka movies. Like I didn't even like the Johnny Depp version. It was okay, but definitely the old crap, what's his name? Gene Wilder. The old Gene Wilder version. That's the best. The uh the Johnny Depp one just kind of was weird. Kind of had Michael Jackson kind of vibes to it. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it was kind of weird. I think that was Tim Burton though, and he's always got weird movies. And some of them are really good though. And oh, that's cool, Tyler. What's the temperature like out there in Montana? I feel like it'd be cold. That was always my impression. So I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but I'm starting to bring in more details now that like, I've got this softer pencil, a little bit further along in the process. Pretty happy with where things are. Only then do I start drawing lines and details, right? So like I should probably explain that to begin with. A lot of people they start drawing lines and then they start filling in things. This is the exact opposite. And this is kind of how I work mostly. If you look at all of my pictures cumulatively, I make shapeless masses and then I try to refine them into actual details. So like I didn't even know that's what I was doing until I started noticing that I kind of am consistent on that. And I like it. It's not like I invented that. I think that a lot of people draw or paint or whatever that way. And I just really like it. I think it works really well. So like kind of ill-formed, shapeless masses of shape, right? And then you start rendering it, which I think is the correct term. I'm learning new terms. You start rendering it as you get like further along. So that's kind of what's going on here. So I'm starting to put in these lines that some other folks might have started with, is kind of my point. So it's just a different way of doing things, different process. And then this rendering process, honestly, it's until you think it's done. You're trying to capture those tonal changes and values and so on. But it's kind of on you how far you want to go down that rabbit hole. Like already it kind of suggests, the old man, right? The old man that we were shooting for. So you could just artistic discretion, like just leave it at that and just be like, okay, I'm done. I just wanted to see what the different shadows were and stuff. Or you can carry it further, like I'm doing here, where you can start putting in some detail. Um, of course, like the details that have to be appropriate. So like a lot of this is lost in shadow. So even though I just put in the details of an eye, I'm gonna kind of render that out a little bit into shadow. So even though I took the time to put it in there, I'm making it less defined because that's what the brim of the hat's doing. It's casting all that in shadow. So I will add some more shadow around it, which kind of like blends it into the shadow area. And I think that looks cool. So you get those details in there, but they become kind of subdued. And it's a lot easier in charcoal. Like it's been a while since I've drawn in pencil, so I'm having to do things here that I'm not used to doing because I'm used to doing it in charcoal, where you just kind of like really kind of just push all that in. So I think that's looking kind of cool. And then, you know, older guy, his eyebrows are a little bit thinning out. Yeah, I mean, when you get older, all right, all you kids in the room. So as you get older, your eyebrows do just kind of start taking on a mind of their own. And when you reach a certain age, you're either plucking them or you're definitely like taking the wood chippers and like carving them back or something like that. And then there's some older dudes that kind of like lose their eyebrows. It's so weird. So you'll either end up with really big bushy eyebrows or these like almost like pencil thin eyebrows. It's so strange the extremes that they go to as they get older. But yeah, so like it becomes part of your maintenance, I guess, is to keep those eyebrows in check. What's the actor? He was on Schitt's Creek. He's very famous for his eyebrows. You don't want to end up looking like that. Just big old bushy mess. Oslo says, woof, woof. Yeah, cool. Hillary and Tyler chatting. I try to check in and keep track of what you guys are talking about. Oh yeah, Crump. Sorry, I totally missed that. Yeah, I have been wanting to see that. I haven't gotten to it. Um, Pinocchio. I heard that was great. I don't know where I would watch that. That's not a Disney movie, is it? Eugene Levy, that's it. Yeah. Is that Pinocchio like a Disney thing? Like would it be on Disney Plus or should I go looking for it on Amazon or HBO or something like that? I got all the things. I just don't know where to look for that. That's an excellent suggestion. That's been on my list for a long time and I just completely forgot about it. So I'm putting that back on my radar. It's been out for a minute, so that's probably why I forgot about it. But I appreciate you bringing that up. Let's get some dark areas underneath this. How are we doing on time? Yeah, so like, you know, these pictures, if you're not putting like a lot of like craziness into them and you're just doing like the shapes and shadows, they can go pretty quick. So like, this sort of method, I guess, would be good for capturing strangers in public on the bus, that sort of thing. When, you only got like a couple of seconds to really capture their basic look before they wander off, and you have to use memory to fill in some of the details and stuff. This is a pretty good technique. just start with the basic shapes, and you go from like the larger shapes into the smaller shapes. So for example, I've got the large shape of the hat here in his face. You've got some smaller shapes and stuff. So you kind of work those in. I think this should be a little bit more narrow. Maybe make the nose just a little bit big there. Bring this around. The downside is that graphite is kind of something really reflective, so it's hard to see it with this light, but honestly, that's probably the reason I don't do a lot of pencil pictures is because it is highly reflective. So like I like I like the way that charcoal like absorbs light. But I've done enough charcoal pictures. It's nice to go back to graphite. Shininess and all. Yeah, get some shadow in here. Looking kind of cool. Maybe a little hint of an eye over here. I do kind of want to shade that in. Oh, there's not really many details to see here. This is all lost in shadow. So you don't really have to draw that eye. You just have to draw the socket. It's on Netflix or Prime. Cool. Yes, I love stop motion type films. They've gotten really good in the last couple. Like I love Coraline, for example. That's a little old. It's been out for a while, but I just love that kind of thing. I haven't seen a lot lately, stop motion type things. I don't know if they're like making it like it's almost like an art form unto itself. Like you can probably make that kind of movie a lot easier with like CGI and stuff. So I don't know if there's like a lot of places making stop motion um, films, but that's what I used to do as a kid. So like I'm of the age where I used to play with GI Joes. I used to make little stop motion movies with GI Joes. Like I would shoot my GI Joes doing something, and then I would like move them. Just like you end up, it takes forever. Like I would record like 5 seconds of footage, move the GI Joes, record another 5 seconds. It's no way to live. I mean, it takes forever, but it's also uh it's also a lot of fun. Like they were the best GI Joe movies ever. Kind of darken up this rim here a little bit. And again, it's just going back and forth over the same places. I know that that seems a little odd to somebody who's not familiar with the process, but you're just further refining it. And in this case, less is more, I think. So like we don't want to overdo it. But it is fun to just kind of like just draw pictures. I feel like so many people, I mean it's YouTube, so it makes sense. Like you do have to you do have to do stuff that people want to see, but I feel like, you know, a lot of stuff is just it's just too much, you know. It's it's nice to go back to simple things like a simple pencil drawing. I love that. I love the idea of that. The idea of just relaxing with a nice simple pencil drawing. This is gonna be a great weekend. Like just doing this picture's got me in a better mood for the weekend. I was pretty burnt out today. Um, I made progress. I'm not finished with the project, but I made progress on it, and it was a big push. I was up all night last night, and you know, stay up all night, get up super early in the morning just to finish something, to make it look presentable and functional and all that stuff. And it takes a toll. You need to unwind. So that's what art is for, guys. If you're not doing it already, you should take it up. If you don't know how, it doesn't matter. Just start drawing pictures. Doesn't matter what they look like. I don't know very many artist quotes, but a writer that I really like, Jack Kerouac, he had this quote that I really liked. He would talk about scribbled notebooks for your own joy, and I kind of feel like that's the same with scrapbooks and sketchbooks and so on. You know, you don't make them for other people; you make them for yourself, and that's where you get started. You know, and then from there, it's just a matter of practice, and you just spend a lot of time with it, and you get better. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm further along than I was, and that's all just due to practice. So scribbled scribbled sketchbooks for your own joy. There we go. We'll adapt his quote and make it our own. And spend some time with that and see how you feel about life. What campus are you guys talking about? Oh, MSU? Neat. Was that Montana State University? I'm not familiar with the schools out there. Do they teach art? That'd be awesome. Learning art out west. Some of my favorite artists are actually Western artists. Um, uh, Sophomore year of like high school or something, we got introduced to Georgia O'Keeffe. Always been one of my favorites. In recent years, the Jay Sharp, big fan. Nikolai, and basically everybody from that Taoist school of art. So they have a very kind well, they, as in like they're all in the same, like doing the same thing. Um, they don't, right? But like the ones that I like kind of have this like loose style to them, and it's it's very impressive and inspiring. If I was really good at painting, it would be I would hope it would look something like theirs. They're the people I aspire to be in terms of like painting and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know what kind of personality they had. They might have all been assholes or something. When I say it's people I aspire to be, it's purely from like a professional sense, not a artists have problems just like everybody else. They can be complete assholes. They could be terrible people. Oh, it's in Bozeman. Thank you, Hillary. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know the personalities of those people. Like even Eric Sloan, we all talk about Eric Sloan and stuff. I mean, that guy went through like how many wives? I'm sure that like he, at least to them, he wasn't the nicest guy. I don't really know. Just saying, their art is awesome. Eric Sloan's art is awesome. For those who don't know him, I think he was like primarily into the study of weather, and he applied that to his art. So like his art was very atmospheric, um, clouds, paintings of weather. Um, some of his art is in like the National Air and Space Museum, up on the like basically murals all throughout the museum and stuff. Just because like he captured the air like nobody else could. That's like what he was known for. The weatherman of art, I guess. He looked like a weatherman too. He looked like I don't know, like what you would imagine the weather. Maybe he was a weatherman. I don't know, but he looked like what you would imagine the weatherman anchor would be on the old NBC show or something like that. Maybe it was. Yeah, Picasso. There you go. He was an asshole. Thank you. I was trying to think of an artist who wasn't a nice person, but I still respect his art. His art's cool. Um, it's probably not the type of art I would create. But it's like he was on the well, all right, so there's like the cutting edge, which is like out in the forefront of something new, and then there's the bleeding edge. I make that distinction because the cutting edge is like, something's been around for a while and stuff. You're just out there taking risks. The bleeding edge is you're basically carving your own path. So like you talk about mavericks, the bleeding edge, that's all the mavericks out there. The people doing their own thing, hoping it catches on, but they're committed to it. So like they're going to do it regardless of whether it takes off, whether they do anything with it or not. That's Picasso. His whole idea of reducing things down to its basic elements. I don't think anybody else was doing that. I don't know. I'm not like a master art historian or anything like that, but that's my understanding at least. That whole cubism, when you look at something and you break it down into its basic shapes, and you know, he's the pioneer and also probably an asshole. A pioneer asshole. I wonder if YouTube like closed captions me. Like I would like to go back and see closed caption Jeremy saying he's an asshole. I wonder if they would spell it right. I don't know. I get um where's your bourbon glass? Sorry, it's right here. It's off camera. It's here, trust me. It's in my belly. All right. So that's a super rendered face, or like way more rendered than some of these other areas. So I'm going to start focusing on some of these other things here. We've got some darker shadows up here leading into the beard. So let me kind of rough that in a little bit. And then it all kind of comes around, kind of like develops his face. Again, this part would be like super easy in charcoal, but because I'm using pencil, it does take a little bit longer to render. But we're good on time. We're just having fun, chatting. Sometimes I like lose my train of thought and I just go off on a tangent and stuff. So you guys let me know if you have a question or anything like that. Just yeah. So like if you have an actual question about what I'm doing and you're not just chatting about amongst yourselves, which is totally fine. I'm totally into that. Like I learned a lot just from reading you guys. Um, but if you have any questions about anything that I'm doing, feel free to add me so that like you know I pay attention to it, because sometimes I just do go off on like a bit of a tangent and get lost in my own thoughts, thinking about Picasso, and this guy is kind of looking a little bit like Ernest Hemingway. So now I'm thinking of books I've read by Ernest Hemingway. Sun Also Rises is one of my favorite books by him. I know he's done like a lot of books and he's well known for probably some of his other ones. But The Sun Also Rises is one that I read that I particularly enjoy. I like classic writers. That's my thing. Um, I'm not very successful at it, but I'm trying to make my way through the 100 greatest books of all time. It's a list. I want to. I think it was New York Times put that out there before Goodreads got a hold of it, but you can probably find it at Goodreads. But it's like all the classic, influential books of like the 20th century or something like that. And I'm kind of making my way through it. Um, the one that I would love to like, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy or not, James Joyce. I would love to like his work because it's always at the top, right? So like Ulysses and Portrait of the Artist is a Young Man. I have tried to get through those books and they're so dense. I have never made it all the way through. But I want to. It's on my bucket list to finish that list. So I have to at some point. And maybe it's just the time of my life or something that I'm not ready for it. Because that's been the case. Um, I start reading books and I'm not interested. It's like TV shows, like you have to be ready for it. So like with some books, I'm not really, I don't want to say mature enough. I'm not in the right frame of mind or something to read some books, and then I come back to them later, and it's like, wow, that's a great book. That's how I feel about like James Joyce. Yeah, Lewis Tolkien, Chesterton. I'm not familiar with that one, but that's kind of what I like to do. I like to read old books. Um, and then some of them are just cool, like they're not particularly well written or whatever, but they're just like influential for the times or something. Like uh, I think I mentioned Kerouac earlier. So like On the Road, that was I had the good fortune of reading that when I was a young man, and it kind of hit me at the time of life where I wanted to go on big old road trips and stuff, and I wanted to do the things they were doing. Now it was written in the 1940s, so like it's not really my time period, um, but yeah, that book was really influential to me, and probably if I had read that like later in life, or even younger, like if I was like I don't know like in high school or something and I read it, it probably wouldn't have resonated as much. But no, I mean Jack Kerouac, and then so that's probably the book he's most known for. But because I like that book, I went back and I read other books that he wrote. I mean, the guy was just a modern adventurer. Like he wrote this book where he's talking about being in. He volunteered for the forestry service as like a fire lookout, and they put him in this fire tower middle of nowhere. I think it was like somewhere in Alaska. I don't really remember, but he was up there for months all by himself, and like that kind of experience, that kind of stuff sticks with you, you know. And as a young man reading that kind of stuff, I mean, it's like I want that, I want to go out in the middle of nowhere and spend I, I, I want to say 3 months, spend 3 months all by myself in a cabin out in the woods. That'd be cool. Just looking for fires. That's what they used to do back in the day. I'm sure nowadays it's more sophisticated where they have like satellite tracking of like smoke and things like that. But back then they needed people up in those towers to look for wildfires before they got out of hand. So he volunteered for that. I think they paid him. Like it was a paid position back then. So like I mean, what are you going to spend your money on? You just basically save up your money for a summer or something like that. That kind of stuff appeals to me. Yeah, Dissolution Angels. Dharma Bums. I think that's the name of it. I tried reading that. I don't know. It's always the same with different authors. Some books just really resonate with you, and then others don't. Like for example, Mark Twain. Right? Like I'm a huge fan of Mark Twain. I've read through all of his books, but Huckleberry Finn really speaks to me. Tom Sawyer to a lesser degree, but then his other books, I don't care. Like I've read some of his other books. They just they don't speak to me like those two books do. So it really depends. Like just because you like a writer or an artist or a director of movies or something like that doesn't really mean you're gonna like all their work. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Mark Twain and to a lesser, to some degree, Jack Kerouac. And then Jack Kerouac was part of that Beat Generation. So I started getting into other Beat Generation writers, hit or miss. Some of them are really good. Some of them aren't. Um, Allen Ginsberg, the poet, some of his poems, you know, like poems are supposed to be heard, right? So, like, what's great about these modern poets is that you can find audio of them reading their own poetry. So, that was my first introduction to Ginsberg. I got to listen to his poem America, and that one really, really like was like you listen to that, and that's an event. You listen to that, and it's like wow. Um, But then, some of his other poems and stuff, I could care less. It's weird. Oh, they still use fire lookouts? All right. Well, that maybe is something I should do is like go volunteer to be a fire lookout and just sit out there and do drawings for a while. Kind of define this edge here a little bit. Rough that in just so it stands out a little bit more. How are we doing on time? Yeah, I have to make it. Just kind of rendering some of these areas. I know it seems like it's slow going. That's just because I'm taking my time. I'm just chatting with you guys, having a good time. The like I could have probably got a rough version of this with like within a half hour or something like that, but I like going back and forth over the same things over and over. It's like this is my form of Zen, you know? I don't know if you guys are like that, but I certainly am. Just relaxing with pencils. But I think this is looking pretty good. Um, get some more shade to this ribbon on this hat. Get maybe a little bit of a shadow up there. Kind of hatch that in. Maybe a little bit to this rim coming out here. Now, some of this I can kind of blend in. Like, I don't know if I really want to. I'm going to do it in some of these areas because I kind of want this to be super soft through here because this is really where the shadows kind of hitting. But then parts of it I want to keep kind of rough. Maybe in his beard, just to kind of make it this soft billowy thing. And I don't I don't overwork this blending. I have seen people do that, and um, I think that is kind of a rookie mistake. You'll see people do pencil drawings where it's like so over smoothed out. Like I feel like just for stylistic purposes, you should leave some of the roughness in it. I mean, you're not hiding the fact that it's drawn in pencil. Like you're not kidding anybody. Um, Everybody knows it's not a photograph, so like there's really no reason to like over smooth it because the equivalency is something that's blurry in a photograph, right? You don't want that. So I think that you should be strategic about your blending. That's just my personal opinion. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's got their own different art style. But my opinion is that you should kind of be selective about areas that you blend. Like, don't worry about back here. That's not the focal point. I talk a lot about creating contrast in your picture, and one of the ways to create contrast is one part is like super detailed or super blended out or something like that, and that's contrasted to the rougher areas. That's a good way to like create visual interest in your picture and kind of guide where you want the viewer's eye to go. So I will blend out some of this stuff, but also I'm going to leave some of it rough just because I think that that's the way to go. Like over here, there's like almost no detail, so it's okay to blend that out, kind of like just make it a shadowed mess or shadowed out, kind of like lost detail. There you go. Yeah, maybe that's a good way to put it. And then, you know, your blending is almost just like with your pencil and stuff. Kind of vary it up, go a couple of different directions and so on. Follow the contours of the hat. And let's some of this up. Let's see. Hey, who's in the house? Yeah, you guys are getting sleepy. I'm putting myself to sleep. I already talked about how it's been a rough week, guys. I'm burnt out. Like this weekend, I'm just looking to relax. I don't know what I would like. Honestly, I was thinking about canceling this live stream tonight because they have a gallery hop. I just didn't have the energy to go. Gallery hop, I've mentioned that before, is when all the art galleries in town kind of have like an open house. It's kind of cool. You know, some of them have like wine and cheese and stuff like that. But I like to go and, you know, see what other people are up to, get some ideas, you know, ideas to steal, get some get some ideas for like, I don't know, I can do that. No, that one's too much for me. Maybe in a few years I can do that one. That sort of thing. I do like going to galleries for that kind of reason. I think most of the ones participating in the art gallery hop thing, I've already been to recently, so unless they brought out something new, I'm probably already familiar with it, sir. Just because that's what I do. Some people go to sports games. I go to galleries. I'm weird. I know. Get some of the shadow from this nose down in here. So I didn't really want to go crazy with the shadowing on underneath here yet. Just kind of chunk it in, but I feel like I'm at the point where I can kind of bring some of that down. Here, I think it needs to be smoothed out a little bit. Right. So I can continue working with that, but check. Hey Tom. Oh Tom, thanks Tom. That's what I meant to say, not hi Tom. You've been in here for a while. I like that you guys get along with each other and that you guys talk amongst yourselves and stuff. That's cool. I don't know how many of you guys I kind of introduced to each other, but I'm gonna lie to myself and say all of you guys are here just because I introduced you. But no, it's kind of cool that you guys get along and stuff. That's what they call community. One of these days, I'll probably start like a Discord server or something like that. I'm not sure how that would work. I would start a Discord server for like artists who want to like share their work and things like that. But I'm not really sure. I don't know. There's some people on the younger side who watch my channel and I don't know how to like I don't know how to moderate a community where there's a bunch of young folks in there that like I wouldn't want them to be exposed to like, some of the seediness of the internet just like at a Discord server that I run. That's why I haven't done one yet. I haven't solved that problem. But if I ever figure out how to like, I don't know, keep it both free and open so that people can express themselves, but also kind of like not end up being Moss Eisley. That's a Star Wars reference for you non-nerds. Um, the quote is like, Moss Eisley, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. So I want like artists to come in and be able to express themselves, but then also I don't know, it's like some gatekeeping on the younger people. I don't know how to do that. But I would like to kind of solidify with the community at some point. This looks like a hard drawing. It's time consuming, but it's fun. I mean, I wouldn't call it hard. It's just kind of working the shadows and kind of just going back over it several times. I don't know. Maybe that's a tough question, Huli. You have me thinking about it now. I'm thinking like, what is the level of difficulty for this picture? Like I never really think that way. Like what would like if somebody was actually learning to draw based on watching this or whatever, I don't know why they would. There's plenty of other resources out there. Um, it would be nice to be able to like measure the level of difficulty and say this is like advanced or intermediate. I wouldn't put this at advanced. I think probably a little bit on the intermediate side. It's not beginner because beginner is just doing shapes and stuff like that. This is where you're trying to get, and I don't know how well I'm doing really, but this is where you're trying to get like tonal value in and getting the shadows right and everything. So yeah, I think I would call this intermediate. Oh, Shiloh's answering text and I'm missing it. Yeah, I do have a question for him. What's his favorite artist? There you go. That's a nice, safe question. He should be able to answer that. So his grandfather said that he wasn't really into art, that it was just a commodity to him. My question to Shiloh would be like, does he share that that same outlook, or does he have a deeper appreciation of art than maybe his grandfather did? And if so, does he have any favorite artists? Like, did he ever see a painting in his grandfather's gallery that he just was floor struck by? Yeah, that's a great question. Pat myself on the back on that. That's a well asked question. Yeah, ask him if he watches. Like, hey Shiloh, how's it going, man? Big fan of your grandfather. This is his grandfather with the beard and a hat. There we go. I'm gonna claim that. I think I should have brought this hat out just a little bit. Just that one. Yeah. No, that would I am actually interested in that. Like if you can get him to answer that, I would be kind of curious because he basically grew up in the art world of Taos and or Santa Fe, and by proxy Taos. So I am kind of curious, like if any of that rubbed off on him. Like, who doesn't appreciate art? But some people appreciate art more. So I was just wondering. Besides your dad, what artists inspired me? Oh, that's a tough one, Hillary. Oh, so you wouldn't know the guy. Yeah, actually, I did talk about this in some of my earlier shows. You wouldn't know him. Nobody here would know him. I had a picture that I think I shared from the guy. There's dog. Hey, go lay down. We're not done. Sorry, dog's acting up. So there is one guy who inspired my art and got me into drawing more than anybody else, and his name is Ray Jackson. And you wouldn't know him because he was a street artist. My dad was in the military, and we lived in Cuba for a little while. And he was an artist in Cuba, and he was a pastel slash charcoal artist. Um, at the installation down there. And he was doing some street art, and we were walking by, and I was just enthralled by his art. It was awesome. I think he was actually Jamaican, but he was living in Cuba. But anyway, he was doing some street art, and I loved his artwork so much that my folks actually paid for a portrait of me to be done. I have it around here somewhere. I'll drag it out at some point. Um, but anyway, so he did a portrait of me, and I just loved it. It was awesome, and he was doing some art classes, so I signed up for him. Now I'm just a wee little Jeremy, so like I'm deeply impressionable. I don't know how old I was, but it was definitely I was under 8 years old. But it was probably like more in the 6 7 year old. So um, like his art classes like were kind of lost on me because like I was just a kid. I didn't get it or anything like that. But the inspiration was there. So like I count him definitely. This was like a long time ago, but that guy definitely influenced my life because I wanted to be that guy. I thought he was the coolest guy in the entire world. Um, I just wanted to be that guy. And so, where some people might have an interest in art and kind of like lose it over time or whatever, it's easy for me to look back and say, yeah, that's about the time that I really started wanting to draw pictures, and I just kind of stuck with it. That said, like it's not like I was like spending a lot of time trying to draw or anything like that. That's only been in the last year, but definitely if I look back, that early inspiration was a man named Ray Jackson. If I can ever find him, I mean, chances are he's still alive. I want to go shake that guy's hand. I should try to look him up. That'd be kind of cool. Like, yo, dude, you ever live in Cuba and draw pictures? Yeah, sorry, it's not a famous artist or anything like that. As far as like famous artists go, um, who doesn't like Da Vinci? I just love the idea of Da Vinci, if not the art. The guy, scientist, great thinker, and also like brilliant artist, revolutionary. Just what's not to love? As far as like actual artwork that I am most impressed by, I like loose, impressionistic, expressionist kind of art and stuff. But I'm kind of all over the place. There's some art that I probably like better than others. Um, like I definitely like art that kind of looks like something, like modern art where it's just like capturing an emotion or something like that. It's tough for me to connect with it, but yeah, I'm kind of all over the place on like the type of art that I like. Yeah, I would love to connect with that guy and just tell him like, "Hey man, you really inspired me." And because he might be out there like he might not realize that like, he inspired this one little dude. You never know. You never know what sort of connections you have in life. Like you might be inspiring somebody now and not even know it, and then like, they're telling this story like to somebody else 20 years down the road. You don't know. I like little things like that, you know. He might be a gold miner. He might be. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if he was a like military personnel. They had some civilians on the base. In fact, there was a limited number of Cubans that they actually like cross over the gate to like work on the installation. They had some people who were actually Jamaican. I think he was Jamaican. I'm not 100% sure. It's been so many years, I don't remember what he sounded like or anything like that. He might have had a Jamaican accent. I don't know. But yeah, I don't. I would not even know how to track him down. But that'd be kind of cool. Bucket list items. Oh, I'll probably wait until it's too late and find out he just passed away or something like that. But yeah, regarding Shiloh, I would love to hear if he has any sort of like appreciation for art that's kind of filtered down, maybe past his grandfather, because his grandfather famously said, like, look, I'm not into art, man. Stop trying to like get me to be into art. I just saw it as a commodity. I sold art. That doesn't mean I mean, I think he actually was, but that was his brand. His brand was that he was just a sales guy. For those of you who don't know who we're talking about the grandson of Forrest Fenn, who is one of the premier um, gallery owners in the 1980s of like Southwest American art, based out of like Santa Fe, New Mexico, and a lot of the folks know him because like they're treasure hunters, and they were into his treasure hunt that he did. But his grandson talks to us sometimes, talks to the community, and it's nice to get his perspective on his grandfather's life and what he was up to and stuff. Because like a lot of the people know that guy just because of his treasure hunt and stuff. I actually think he had a more interesting life as an art gallery owner, at least for the things that I'm interested in. Because he was the go-to guy for Southwest American art in the 1980s and beyond. And to me, that's fascinating. That's a fascinating lifestyle to be, because all those people I named off that I am interested in, like Joseph H. Sharp, Nikolai Fetchin, you know, Eric Sloan. These artists were like his friends, or like, well, some of them like lived before him, but he sold those people's art, and like Eric Sloan was like one of his friends, and he knew the artists working in that area, like during the. I would love to pick his brain about art. Unfortunately, he passed away, and you know, won't get that opportunity. But that kind of stuff's amazing to me. So yeah, he's famous for his treasure hunt, but he was a lot more than that. But a lot of the people who hang out in here, they're from that treasure hunt. Like we had like a little community going, revolving around the treasure hunt. So like a lot of those guys came over from that. So that's why you hear us talking about it so often. But does your family have any artwork from Ray? Well, I have that portrait that he did of me. I don't have it like in front of me, or else I pull it out and show it. Trying to remember. It's not in my near vicinity, so I can't grab it. I will try to remember to have that for the next show, or like post it. I will post it up on the community tab, Hillary. But it's pretty good. I mean, the guy's a charcoal artist. I mean, he's not the best artist ever or whatever, but it was amazing to me at the time. To me, he was the best, and I was just so inspired by his art. And I had this like I had this idea that I could do what he did, even though I couldn't. But he also did like pastels and stuff like that, and that was my first introduction to pastels, and that really stuck. I've always loved pastels, and that was definitely because of him. Sorry about the dog scratching at the door. They're whenever I get animated, they think that the stream's over and they think it's time to go outside. So. Uh, Jeremy, it's intriguing to consider the duration of your experience in drawing, especially since you are primarily an app developer and not typically associated with artistic pursuits. That's true. The reason I actually started this channel is because most of the stuff that I do is so cerebral. You know, it's like writing code and things like that. There's not a lot of creativity in it. There's aspects of creativity, but it's not like when you're drawing and stuff like that. So I wanted to get back into being creative. I wanted to draw. I wanted to paint. I wanted to see where it would go. I wanted to see if I can get any better. Um, I've always drawn doodles and stuff ever since I was a kid, but nothing like this. You know, I wouldn't have had the patience to sit down and like actually draw something to this degree. And you know, I've done more involved things than this on this show. So like this isn't even probably the best example of something that's really involved. I didn't really do any of that stuff until like this past year because I'm wanting to explore and get better at it. So didn't go to school for it. Got to teach yourself. Got to put in the work. You know. But but yeah, never went to art school. Just happened to happened to appreciate art. I took like a class in like high school or something like that on, Art 101 or something like that. So I'm an expert. I took one class on it. So I'm an expert. Yeah. I did read books, I guess growing up and stuff, how to draw, like, oh yeah, there's another one. So like there was a series of books back in the day. Oh, what was that guy's name? I want to say Lee J. Ames or something like that. But he would put out these like how to draw 50 boats, planes, and airplanes or something like that. Boats, planes, and trains, maybe. Both planes and trains. That sounds like something. That's a movie. Uh, but yeah, like how draw 50 TV characters, things like that. And it's what you expect. Just draw lines and stuff and shapes and things like that. So I got kind of that sort of exposure to it, just because I mean I was a self-taught kid too, so like I went out and sought out those books at the library even as a kid. Nobody forced me to read them or anything, just because I wanted to kind of learn. I didn't really have any kind of artistic influences to where I could just go and pick somebody's brain. That would have been cool, like a mentor or something like that. My dad could draw, but he doesn't he gave up drawing like a long time ago. The last time I remember him ever drawing something was maybe like when I was super young. Funny comment. I don't know these guys, but he draws a damn fine hot dog. This is a nice hot dog, isn't it? The kind of content you post and stream isn't commonly found on YouTube. Oh, that's because everything's better than this. That's why. I don't know. I sometimes wonder like what's the point of my channel? Part of it is I'm here to practice. I'm here to spend my time getting better and just explore art and stuff like that. But then I try to figure out like, well, what value can I bring to you guys? Because like you guys are nice enough to show up, and it's like it's not lost on me how incredible that is. I really really appreciate it. But then like I wonder like, well, what do you guys get out of it? And I don't know, to be honest. But what I would like for you guys to get out of it is maybe some inspiration to do your own thing. Like I will always hype you up. Like I will always champion you, whatever your endeavor. You want to learn the piano or something, I will be there cheerleading you in doing that, because I believe that's important. And if you want some tips on how to be productive in that, like how to go about it, where, what are ways to like keep that kind of momentum and energy and stuff like that, I've got some insights. Uh, I have learned a few things over the last year about how to stay motivated and how to stay in it. Um, if you're just looking for a positive outlook on life, I try to be positive, so I'll throw some of that kind of stuff your way. And I don't know. You guys tell me what you want. Um, I thought maybe you might want to watch me draw some old dude in shadows, and hopefully you guys are enjoying that. I know what you guys really show up for. You guys want to see my dog. Hey there, right there. I want to rename my dog. I don't think Bear really fits her. I want to call her. I want to give her the name Bandit, because she's always trying to look for food, and She'll steal food from the cat. Ain't that right? My little bandit. She looks like a bandit. She's got the mask on and everything. We're not done yet, guys. I'm still drawing old dude. This is what the self-portrait should look like. This is what I should draw. Just me with bear, combination self-portrait. That's going to be one of my pictures in the future. I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to draw that. And it's going to look terrible because I suck at like self-portraits, but that's that's one of my future drawings. Get a little bit of curl on his beard back here, but all right. So I kind of want to. So even though the beard kind of disappears into whiteness, I do kind of want to like hint at where to cap it. So I'm just going to put in some marks here. Just kind of like a little bit abstract. And then I'm going to blur that out so it's just smudged. And I think that's probably enough there just to let you know that he has a long beard, right? And this is kind of what I was getting at in the beginning. I can't change Bear's name. That's all to teaching yourself. Yeah, so I'm entirely self-taught on everything I've ever been interested. Even the programming stuff. I mean, I have had an entire career out of programming, and guess what? I taught myself. I didn't go to school for programming either. I held down a job for 12 years doing programming. I'm doing freelance now, but I didn't go to school for that. All it is trial and error and practice and everything. So that is something that I feel like I have expertise in. I can teach you that, at least, how to teach yourself. I can teach you how to. I don't have knowledge to give you guys, right? I can't tell you how to draw, but I can tell you how to learn how to draw from someone else. There you go. I'm saying it as a joke, but it's kind of true. Yeah, so I'm entirely self-taught on everything I've ever done. Just because I'm really interested in things and I just passionately pursue it, you know? Like if you're into something, you can read a book on it, you can watch a tutorial on it, and you can like apply that and you can practice, you can have the discipline it takes to get good at it. Anybody can. You can't tell me you can't. It's like if you say that you can't, I know that you just haven't tried. You just haven't tried. You haven't put in that kind of effort. You may have tried, but you haven't done what it takes because anybody can learn to draw. It's just practice. Anybody can go off and be a programmer. You know, unless you're a one-legged dude or something, you can probably, even some one-legged dudes, they go hiking up mountains, you know. You can do, here's the way to put it. This is because I truly believe this. You can do more than you think you can. I don't care what station you have in life. I don't care where you think you're at. I don't care how much of a loser you think you are. You can do more than you think you can. And that's really what it's about. It's about pushing the limits of what you're able to do because you don't know what the upper limit is until you hit it. And I haven't hit the upper limit on my art yet. So I don't know what that upper limit is, right? So you just keep practicing until you find out, wow, shit, I can't do that. So maybe that's my upper limit. But then you push it a little bit more. That's my actual outlook. Oh, Procreate is an excellent app, by the way, Crump. I've used that in the past. It's great. I love that app. Would love to see you draw something on Procreate. Yeah, yeah. Um, it's different. I do traditional stuff just because I like the feel of pencil and paper and stuff like that. But I could do digital as well, but it is a different skill set. So like this, some of the same stuff is there, but you know, you've got layers you can work with. You've got opacities. You've got buttons you can push and enter properties and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different. It really is. You can create better work with Procreate, or I could probably create better work than I can traditional art. But um, for me, I like the traditional art. I like being I like sitting down with you guys on a Friday night, bourbon glass in hand, pencil in hand, paper, get my hands dirty with smudging. I love that. There's nothing better, guys. There's nothing better in life. There's better things. There really is. I'm just saying that this is nice too. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm overselling it, but not really. I think that there's a lot of benefit to picking up art and giving it a shot. It's great for peace of mind. Um, if you're into like problem solving, there's puzzles that you work out when you draw. There's you get to have conversations with people. If you create good work, people give you compliments. That's cool. It's good for your ego. All of that. There's no downsides. Get some get some rough lines going in here. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just my outlook on things. You can tell that I really believe that too, because like I get whenever I'm like really into something, it really doesn't matter if it's art or something else. I get really animated about it and like, I talk louder and I'm just waving my hands around like it's the best. It's the best, guys. It's awesome. You know. I do that like if I see a Marvel movie I like, I haven't seen one in a while that like makes me feel that way. But like I am such a fanboy that like if I see a movie or TV show that I like, I'm the guy who comes out of the theater like, oh my god, it was so awesome, and talk thinks that's funny. So you can tell I really believe it because I start waving my hands around and shit. Oh, yeah, Procreate is an app that you would use on like your iPhone or like iPad. Sorry, kid, and it's for creating digital art. It's got a weird name. So when it first came out back in the day, I was trying to tell a coworker who was female about it, and I'm trying to describe to her what Procreate is, and it was just an awkward conversation. It's got an awkward name. I kind of get what they were going at with when they named it, but like it leads to awkward conversations when you're trying to explain it to somebody who has no idea what you're talking about. Give me a second while I kill my dog. Guinness, come here, jump it, jump it. Hey, go lay down, all right? It is not time yet. Your internal clock is off by like 15 minutes or so. I got more of a, what do we name this? Old Man Tyler. I've got more Old Man Tyler to draw. But I think it's coming along well. I think maybe I need to extend this out a little bit. I feel like his face is a little bit cut off over here. But, you can kind of like move things around as you're working on it, kind of reshape things. That's what's so great about keeping your shadows or, lights in this case, like really soft. Creating these dogs are going nuts. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but they're back there like tearing up the floor. The cat's back there like, yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. I wish I had like a thicker one. This is where I wish I kind of had charcoal because I'd like some thicker, scraggly beard back here. And all I've got is this like, I can try to use the side of it. Let me try that. Yeah. Just want to kind of get some chunks in here. This is where my scribble art like practice is kind of paying off. Just kind of let that beard just kind of wander around. You know how like old men's beard they get kind of curly and scraggly. So like whereas some of these other things are like finer lines and stuff, this kind of stuff over here, you just want to kind of like just let it kind of go wild. It's like if you were drawing trees and things like that. There's no there's no order to it. It's just all randomness. That's how old people's beards are. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I'm looking forward to being an old man. Like just letting beard go everywhere. It's gonna be awesome. But like if you happen to be an old man and your beard's like that, I'm not making fun of it. I'm envious. I want a solid old man beard. I mean, I live in Kentucky. Trust me, this is my next door neighbor. I mean, it's not my, if my neighbor is listening. If you're watching my show, neighbor, I'm not saying this is you. But there are a lot of people in Kentucky who look like this guy. And then as you move away from like, where the focal point is, you can get kind of looser with your um, marks. It doesn't have to be so precise or controlled or anything like that. It's kind of like there's one little line randomly coming down and so on. That's just another pocket of shadow. So I do want to kind of be careful on the smudging. I want parts of it to be smudged, but I don't want that to be like so obvious. Mostly the smudging is in this case, I think more of a like an extension of the shadow. So like I'm getting maybe some more mid-tone in here behind this other part of the beard. That's really what I'm doing with the smudging. It's not to make it look more detailed or like cleaner or anything like that. It's just to get a little bit of a mid-tone so that it's not all white back here. Kind of want to, again, suggest and imply. So we're just suggesting and implying that this side of the beard is like behind this side. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but like that's kind of what we're doing here. And then we're suggesting down here that the beard is ending and going into like, I don't know, some sort of outfit he's wearing. I'm not gonna worry about his clothes, just like there's a shirt down here somewhere. I don't know. Yes, Kitty, I know. I know you want to be on camera too, but you don't come on my lap. I keep asking you to. Paint Archer and coffee? That would be great. Yeah, absolutely. Dogs have a crazy unreal sense of time. Thank you, Lorraine. And they're off. Like these guys haven't like like when you come home from work or something, you come home from the supermarket, the dog's sitting there waiting for you. It's because they know. They know which car that pulls up is yours. They know about approximately how long you should have been gone. Some of my week-long trips out west and stuff, I mean, oh man, they punished me when I got back because like that was too long. That did not meet their expectations. They were not happy. Yeah, I had both these dogs back when I was doing that. So yeah, that's funny. Now that I think about it, like I can only imagine like in their mind because they don't know. They don't know if you're coming back whenever you go out the door. That must be traumatic. Like human beings, even children know that you're coming back because like, well, you always do. Dogs they don't know. Like basically every time you go leave out that door, they have a mini panic attack. All right. Well, I think this is getting pretty close to the point where if I do too much more, then it's not just shadows, it's like a fully worked picture. Um, when I really just wanted to be kind of all about this area here. This isn't meant to be like a masterpiece in art or anything like that. I was just having fun, you know. And the very loose theme of tonight was in contrast to this, which you're drawing in light. Here's one where you're drawing in shadow. It's not like I drew an oval to represent his head. It's not like I drew, the full hat or anything like that. It's just little shadow areas and stuff to kind of suggest some of these features. He doesn't have a fully realized beard here. It's kind of just washed out. Um, I don't know. That's how I see it. Maybe you guys see it differently, but that was kind of my idea. So that said, I'm not sure there's that much more I really want to do with it. And we are coming up to our hour mark, so we probably should call it. Get some hair going back here. Rough old man hair. Same as the beard. You get to a certain age, you just don't care. You just let it all grow out. Just go. I think I did draw like a self portrait of myself, like you know, at age 70. This is my future hero. This is who I want to be when I get older. That's what it is. But my dog wants to see what he did while I was at work. He basically sat on a chest looking out the window for me all day, except when a mailman came. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, Crump, I'm sorry. You were expecting a man eating a hot dog. The hot dog is implied. That's what I'm saying. It's all about suggestion and implication. There's clearly a hot dog off canvas. No, Hater. I was gonna like maybe text her or call her this weekend. So I should maybe have something on like by Monday, but I haven't followed up with her yet. It's been a crazy busy week for me, like working, and I try not to bother people during the week as much as I can. Um, just because people have lives and like she would probably be at work as well. So I will follow up with her on this weekend. I appreciate you asking and reminding me because like that is something I need to do. I have not heard any bad news, and I feel like I would have heard bad news if there was bad news. So um, you can assume everything is good um, by the lack of bad news. But no, that is a great question, and I appreciate you asking. Darken. So I can continue rendering. So like, I mean, at this point, so like these like little shadows in through here that kind of defines, the ear. I do want to kind of darken in some of this so that it doesn't look like the ear's just kind of cut off Van Gogh style. The idea is that the ear kind of disappears into the shadow, not that it's cut off. So let me kind of darken this up. And again, getting those tonal values and stuff like that, depending on how far you want to go with it, it really is just darkening up areas. So like just darkening this up even a little bit and stuff kind of transforms it a bit, you know. So at what point are you done? It's entirely up to you until you feel comfortable with it. But I like what I just did there, kind of like blending that ear in so that's not so, again, Van Gogh style, and cut off. This could be Van Gogh, maybe. Nah. Trying to think. This reminds me of somebody. I think this needs to. I'm gonna cheat and kind of. I'm gonna take this band a little bit more this way, just to kind of. I want to give it. I think I might have made this a little bit narrow by extending that out a little bit. That might fix this up. So I talked about like in the past about drawing your, whatever your reference is, whether it's in life or you're drawing from a photo or whatever it is, or from imagination. And then at some point, you have to look at your picture. You're not even looking at your reference picture anymore. You're just looking at your picture for inconsistencies, things that don't make sense. And you're making the picture itself internally uh, um, consistent and making sense. So I think extending this out a little bit makes a little bit of sense. I wasn't really wanting to rely on eraser, but I can remove some of these marks in the corner. Usually I like to use that kneadable eraser, but I don't know what happened to it. I hope the dogs didn't need it, but I need to pick up a new kneadable eraser. So I've got this old white block. I don't even know what the term for it is. It's just ugly. It is good for like making sharp marks though. So like if I wanted to come in here and I wanted to, I don't know, can't think of any areas that I might want to do it. Let me kind of get some, carve out some of that beard there up into it. So that it does make sharp marks. It's better probably in charcoal, but I think this is looking pretty good. Which hero is missing? He's famous wearing Uggs. Oh, which hero is missing? Hillary. Understand we are looking at a portrait of an elderly dog and a beard smuggler. Yeah, he's got his dogs up underneath his. You ever see that movie? Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd, where he's dressed up as Santa Claus and he steals the food from the party, and he's sitting on the train, and he just pulls it out of his beard. That's what this guy's doing. He just pulls that hot dog out of his beard and just kind of, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He put in his time, guys. He does not care about social conventions or impressing anybody. This guy has reached not only the pinnacle of his life, but he has achieved what most of us are unable to accomplish in our lives, which is, I just don't care anymore. I just don't care. That's exactly what this guy is all about. He just does not care anymore. And he wonders why he ever did, because he's so over it. He's content with his life. He's happy. He's just out there fishing or whatever it is old people do. I don't know. Maybe there's pigeons involved. Maybe there aren't. That's where this guy is in his life. He's just happy to still be alive, you know? I mean, he's like 75 years old, you know? That's a good run, you know? He's just out there fishing. He's playing with his dog. He's out there playing with his dog in some park somewhere, enjoying his hot dogs that he pulls out of his beard. You know, that's what old people do, right? Thanks, guys. He does look like an older Harrison Ford. I like that. All this fur going. And you're lucky I'm not painting anything. All right, so I do think I'm going to wrap this up. Dogs are getting antsy. I think I don't want to overwork it. I think it's pretty much done anyway. I wanted to go less is more on this and just kind of suggest some things. I am happy with the shadows in his face. I think maybe I could go over it a couple more times and, you know, really kind of hammer that home that all of this is in the shadows because of this hat. Maybe kind of probably through here. Yeah, probably through here. I can kind of darken this area up a little bit to kind of let you know that his head is tucked into that hat. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. So I can work on things like that. But I think this is good enough to kind of like, it's a good picture to enjoy while we're just chilling on a Friday night. Hopefully you guys had a good time. Let me kind of curl this up here, up on his, yeah, kind of. This kind of looked like Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, an older version. I'm gonna really darken that up a bit. Start doing something, then you got to render it out, you know? Like, let me make this last 11 minutes. Oh, crap. Now I've got 30 more minutes of work to do. But no, I think it's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to call it. I think it's pretty much done. It looks like The Giver. I'm going to have to click that link and check that out. I don't know about this rim here. I think that works. It's all just one big floppy hat. Let me bring this shadow out a little bit out here so that you know that it does. It's all about information. So I talk about this a lot. So one last lesson for tonight, or one last observation. I can't call them lessons because really you guys deserve better. I will call them observations. So it's been my observation that drawing is really, and I've mentioned this before, but drawing is really about communication. So in this case, I want to communicate by suggesting and implying certain features. So if I extend this out further, it implies that the hat's actually bigger than what I was implying earlier, which is good. You know, I want to communicate that to you. That information there is kind of important for you to know so that you feel like it's not weird, like he's got the stubby little hat or something. This is actually a big hat. If I drew in all the lines, the hat actually probably ends around back here. And then this rim kind of makes a little bit more sense. So just putting this hat band out a little bit more than what it was, I think that helps communicate that, and I feel more comfortable. And then also by keeping this little angle here, it kind of like lets you know that this hat kind of comes up and around. But anyway, that's the last bit, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and call it. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks, Ben. Let me know what Shiloh says if he does get the opportunity to answer my questions about, you know, art. But you guys been a really great crowd tonight. You guys had some great questions. Put me on the spot a couple of times, which is awesome. I like to keep me on my toes and stuff. Sorry about all the dogs and craziness in the background. For some reason, they're super antsy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys it inspires you to go out and create your own art. Yeah, so let me go back to this. All right. So, per usual on Fridays, I wish you guys a great weekend. I hope the weather's nice out there. Oh, we do have Archer down there. Hey, Archer, say hi to freaking dogs. If I still have a door next week. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll be back on Tuesday. I might create like a little small piece between now and then, but we'll see. But in the meantime, I'll hey, Bavetta's in here. Cool. All right. So have a great weekend. See ya. Bye.